Hello. So my name is Tim David, president and one of the owners of Breakthrough Productions. And I just wanted to spend a quick moment and first thank you for coming to this page and taking a look at this video. It means one of two things. One, you're either looking at producing an event or a live production in some fashion, or two, you produce live events and you are just looking for new vendors to add to your Rolodex. And keep in mind for upcoming projects or just because you've had a bad experience with another vendor in the past that helps with fabrication and production. And that's what we're here for. So first, thank you, taking a step in the right direction. And what I want to do today is just basically walk through our capabilities deck, which you just click the link to download, or you've received it in an email with this video, and really just kind of explain a little more of what our involvement was. It's easy to look at a photo and start to extrapolate, okay, what did they do? What didn't they do? And just want to kind of take a quick breeze and a good explanation of who Breakthrough is and what we do and how we help our clients create impactful events. So when we first start off, obviously there's all the good stuff. You can read the story all about how we got started. This is also on our website in a more extended format. One of the key areas where we definitely help clients is with pop-up retail builds. So these are going into blank spaces, temporary leases in commercial buildings, and bringing in a store. These are a fantastic marketing tool, and we help in many different ways. And we've done these from just small single one-day activations to multi-city, multi-month long tours, taking the same stuff and going in and out of multiple buildings. So one of the fun ones that we've worked on was this project Away. There's actually a case study on our website that goes a little more into the process of what was done. But essentially, a lot of the main items that you're looking at here, we fabricated. So we brought in all the walls because the existing walls of this particular building were just absolutely nightmarish. And instead of spending money to improve the building that this went into, and you never see that money again, it goes to a landlord somewhere. We basically just did as much as we could in a modular and scenic format, so you can maximize the budget and the client was able to get what they were looking for. So we did the halo lit signage, we did the clouds that hung from the ceiling, we brought in all the labor and logistics, and we also produced all of the walls and all the scenic painting on the concrete floor. The retail fixtures that are here, the shelving, our team brought all of that in, the audio visual. And these are actually TV monitors that integrate with the actual visuals of what we scenically painted on the walls. And there were just some fun activations as if you're traveling, looking out the window of a plane. This was also a fun video element that there's some photos of on the website. And then we brought in at the last minute, our client asked us to help with painting the front of the store to really attract people in. And through our vendor network, we were able to get a fantastic artist who put this all together in less than 2 days. There's a fantastic pop-up, which was one of our favorites because it really is truly scenic, the Arizona Iced Tea pop-up store. And this space was cool because we actually then took the same exact location in New York City and we did another pop-up store, and I'll share that with you later. So this was kind of referencing the front of the Arizona iced tea can, and it basically just brought in that the ginger and honey theme, the Japanese pagoda in the background, and all of this was fabricated by us. We foam sculpted all of the rolling hills. We brought in bags and bags and bags of pea gravel to really give that unique, impactful sensory experience. We even brought in a scent generator that brought in ginger and honey, and it looked really, really cool and smelled the part, and everything was just a really cool atmosphere. We even brought real fish and put them in the koi pond. Cool multi-level activation, really cool retail displays, front point of sale service system, and that was a fun one. This other one, these walls were all brought in. These were SEG fabrics, custom printed again to hide a lot of the mess that's in these retail stores. Come in modular. So the previous one with the Way was all hard scenic flats that were painted. This is actually something that's custom printed with stretch fabric materials, and then hanging on those walls, very similar to a trade show setting. We were actually able to implement and hang our shadow boxes and some of the retail display fixtures, and then bringing in light boxes and the sort. So we worked with one of our agency partners to produce some of the fun elements with this, warehousing, labor, and logistics. Another pop-up, we do a couple of them that actually have been in ballrooms of hotels. Under Armour was one of our clients, and just other pop-up stores when Macy's had their flagship store on 34th Street in the city, bringing in the fun sculptural elements for multiple iterations of their This Is Story campaign. So that's a lot of what we're looking at. This is a fun interactive element. That's a full-scale abacus for back to school. propping and decor that went on all these books to then showcase some of the really cool visual merchandising that was done by the team over at Macy's. And these are all yoga foam rollers, yoga mats and foam rollers that actually created the sculptural areas to kind of have the good, feel good, coming out of the holidays. How do you feel good about yourself? Well, the way to do that is to get your body moving. And that's where we were able to bring in those fun elements to do a cool way to really just showcase retail. Waterford Crystal is a fun one that we did down in Tribeca. This was a recent project. This one was really fun to work on. We did the bar. We helped them with the retail fixtures. These were all made out of real copper pipe, integrated with glass shelving, lighting, and then metal laminate finishes. So all of these fixtures in the middle, our team fabricated. We fabricated the bar, which has solid surface counters and custom high-end glass tile work, and then uplit shelving. And it was just a really cool experience. And that's actually then went from their pop-up store into their headquarters, just a couple blocks away. And the back bar and some of those elements and the water-jetted custom copper letters on the back bar. This was a really cool one. We really liked the materials and the elements that went into this. Jack Daniel's was a pop-up store. There's a case study on our website that really goes into this much, much further. This was a fun one because it toured. So we started in New York City, then we went to Miami, cities like Denver, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and ultimately it was a store with multiple vignettes. We had the barrel making area, a small little travel area where you can actually put on some VR headsets. And we did everything from the display areas. So sometimes that's in the form of a workbench, the back bar. We did all the fabrication components to this piece. We helped warehouse and bring in some of the furniture that then got transported into the actual facility. And then after it left New York, our team traveled around with it and set it up in multiple different venues. This one was cool too. The first store was about 5,000 square feet in a very square form. Next stop was Miami, very long, skinny, very low ceilings. So making this modular and adapting it to go into multiple different locations was a lot of fun, and also a little bit of a fun challenge to approach. But then we helped create this and move this around the country. Tourism mobile marketing. This was in more of a trade show setting, but items that break down. This was for Ford's Rocket League. We fabricated the kiosk components, the ramp that a car was able to fit on, this cool goalpost that was out of the game. We helped with the Stella Artois travel campaign. So this particular one was converting a trailer into a operational food truck. So we helped with all the cabinetry, integrating all the appliances, and helping them get ready for Super Bowl. Another one, we converted a 40-foot shipping container into an emulation of a train that's down in Tequila, Mexico for Jose Cuervo, and helped to fabricate a lot of the scenic components that you see here and that were part of the Jose Cuervo experience. So this was all done. The first activation was on a beach down in Alabama. This was another tour that was outside. What you're looking at, a lot of the components, there was a florist that was brought in to handle the living walls, and we did all of the structure and pergola components around that. The decks that had to go to various different locations and all locked together. And then these really cool kind of, custom stone fountains, all the round shaped furniture here. This was all custom built by our team. Moving on, we can help with simple things like wrapping a parcel van. This was done for a Red Bull campaign. There were actually two identical trucks, and we helped to add the scoreboards and the basketball net to the top, and handle the graphic components. Trade shows are a fun one. Trade shows can happen not just in a conventional convention center, but in different areas. So this particular project, Future of Home, we helped build these kind of eccentric, really fun fabricated components. Like, these were to showcase the Benjamin Moore supplier that was at this event. This was to showcase Crate and Barrel. So different looks, different brands that were all brought into the space, all tied together under the Future of Home theme and look that they have going for it. So these were all built by us, multi-layered MDF walls. These were all done on our CNC machine. We brought in these are little flip-up doors. We handled the graphics that integrated with the set components. So again, another fun one, and there were some lighting elements that were tied in as well. We helped handle also the labor and logistics to transport it from our North Carolina facility up to New York for a 2-day activation. In the trade show setting, where we really specialize is in something that is textural and dimensional, not where we can definitely help with the, hey, let's just get some printed banners on some really cool shaped walls. Where we really shine is bringing in more of that scenic component. Again, tapping into our background, you could read our About Us story, but looking at this particular piece, they took a scene from the video game and the Netflix series, and asked us to recreate that for this particular experience in a 25 by 25 booth. So almost everything here our team created. There were some small elements that the client over in Japan wanted to handle, like these upper banners and some of these custom lanterns and the Demon Slayer signs. A majority of the remaining items were all handled by Breakthrough's team. Similar client then wanted us to handle a really cool scenic activation for One Piece. So One Piece is another anime property. These are integrated LED walls that our client had ordered, and we then integrated into the actual scenic build. But this started as a 30 by 30 and then expanded into a 40 by 40 booth. So the components were modular enough for us to be able to easily do this. And also integrated a big inflatable that was provided by the client, and then we propped around it. So again, a lot of cool elements, all the scenic painting, all the build and fabrication was done by our team. Then there's just some other more traditional trade shows. Again, not just a printed face, but really bringing in actual textures in the insides of barrels to showcase the Woodford Reserve and what makes the Woodford Reserve property fun and exciting. Bringing in the steelwork and tying in the props that were provided by our customer. But this was a fun one to do. And again, trade shows have many different looks. They could be 2-story structures that have golf simulators built underneath them, and little closing rooms up top and a cool lounge for the VIP areas. Or they can be, more traditional corporate for hardware companies. The trade show atmosphere and setting can also translate to airport environments. So that's another key thing. When you actually have to work in an airport, there's a lot of rules and regulations that not only go into the planning, but also the execution. Some of the fun events over the years, as far as different launch parties, events, product launches, just overall fun times for big companies for their employees to throw. That's kind of what we're showcasing here, is just some different areas. So we've worked with Jack Daniels in multiple iterations. Again, we shared the pop-up store, but then there is also the event parties, another campaign and program that we helped with. And in this particular case, some of these photos, like the ones on the left, we fabricated these items. The one on the right, we actually took over the agency we were working with, loved the work we did on the toolkits and the pop-up store components for Jack. And they asked us to take over the tour from another company because they loved our approach to making everything modular, streamlining the flow of everything, and keeping the client's budget in mind. And that's what we did here. So we took a lot of components that were built from another shop. We modified them, we tweaked them, we rebuilt some of them. We threw some items out that just weren't working for the tour, and we recreated and repackaged everything. And we're able to take that component of the tour to actually eliminate an entire truck off the road just by taking some careful planning, rebuilding, and putting the breakthrough touch on it. It saved the client a lot of money and allowed them to add an additional stop on the tour because of what we were able to accomplish. Pure Leaf, this was a fun takeover of a bookstore. So finding cool and unique spaces to launch a product or have a little kind of town hall meeting is definitely something we can help with. We provided the audio equipment, the TVs that were integrated into these custom TV surrounds. These are 55-inch TVs that are made to look like a piece of artwork. Living walls, and then just integrating it into the cool theme of a bookstore. And again, these are just little shadow boxes that showcase the Pure Leaf product that was there. This is a full takeover of a space. So this is actually an art gallery by day, and by night, it was just fully custom vinyl wrapped. Our team managed one of our vendors who took care of the bulk of this. And there were some fabrication components to this as well that are not just highlighted in some of the photos that we took. This is an outdoor structure. So this is actually set up at a stadium for their VIP area for Strongbow. And this was a temporary structure that we helped get the engineering on. We worked with one of our engineering vendor partners, and then we fabricated this entire component to be modular so they can activate it during the summer, break it down and store it in a container, and then reactivate it every year in order to be in compliance with the local codes. But this was a fun one. So a little more of like what you might find in your backyard, but something that can then also be integrated into an actual brand experience. So Espolon Tequila is a fun one because these photos are what were in the same exact space that we did the Arizona pop-up store in a couple of years before. So we were already familiar with the space. Our client was searching. We did, and they could not find the right location for this particular project. So what we did was we recommended, having worked in the space with Arizona, to come into the space, and it fit perfectly. So we helped with all the custom scenic components. We helped with them finding the location. And then there were some other elements. If you take a look at the project page, there's some cool videos and stuff that really showcase the rest of the experience. And we brought in the audio visual projection mapping with one of our vendor partners out of the New York area. Again, just some fun shots. We've worked with some of the campaigns in some of the really big stadiums. So this is at the Barclays Center. So we're used to having to load in, and this is for a esport tournament. And then the same esport tournament with a different property. So one was Call of Duty. One was Rainbow Six, different tournament, different city, same client. It was really fun to work with them and produce these. So some fun, funky stages with lighting built into them, custom podium for their trophies, and then walls that had big LED screens integrated into them. And we worked with a couple different AV partners on this particular one due to the fact that we were working in some of these larger venues. Our core is also with, going back to this, our core is in office builds and casework. So that's essentially, while working in theater, we were also doing a lot of work in the healthcare space. And so being able to work on projects like this is a lot of fun, kind of a throwback to it. And one of our clients really loved work that we did on a particular event. So one of our clients really liked the work that we did on a particular event. One of our clients really loved the work that we did on a particular event. And then they asked us to actually build permanent fixtures in their facility. So this is a welcome bar in the Sharp offices where we've brought in the casework and cabinetry down below and kind of created just a cool vibe space for their new customers coming in and the partners that they work with to take a look at. So office builds and casework. So a lot of our clients love the work that we do at the events and then ask us to actually do some work in their offices. And that's where a lot of the next couple photos come from. So the next one in particular is Sharp. They asked us to do some work in their New York headquarter office when they were expanding and making some changes. So this is a bar and a coffee bar by day. Another client that reached out to us to do some work was Waterlily's Food. So they originally reached out to us for a trade show booth, which isn't showcased here, but then they needed some help transforming their lobby. So we created this slat wall in the back, bringing in the logo. And this photo is taken where if you just turn around, we were also able to bring in a really nice wall wrap. So we can also help transform spaces as well. Our design team brought in different elements, worked with the client and produced this. And then they had a very wide hallway that they wanted to turn into some office space. And so we were able to utilize that by bringing in some modular wall components and then the custom casework that you see here. Again, just a couple other shots of different types of showcases and products that we can help with, different levels of design. Design is a fun one because everything we draw, we can essentially build. We're not the type of company that's going to draw really out of the box, crazy pictures and then tell you later that it can't be built. Everything we present and everything we do is grounded in reality and is something that we can do in our shop or amongst the vendor network we have to help execute your project on the timelines. So this is a project that we designed, and unfortunately due to COVID, we were not able to produce it. But these are some of the levels of design that you can see. And if you look at the level of detail that's provided, a lot of this is then just a couple clicks away from going right out to the shop in a full set of shop drawings or in a programming for some of our machinery. And again, just other photos of some stuff we've built. This was a sustainability campaign that we assisted with that toured around to all the boroughs of New York City. So we were in Queens and one weekend and Brooklyn the next. And it was just a kind of a mobile tour packed into 2 different trucks and just went from borough to borough each weekend to engage with families and just showcase why the TD Bank brand is, really gives back to the community and cares. Again, some fun photos, some additional casework down here, a living wall over here, and just a fun holiday display off on the left. Again, a couple other photos here. And that kind of showcases a little bit more of who we are and what we're all about. So I appreciate you taking the time. if you have any questions, please reach out. I hope it helps showcase the items where we can help with. And if you have any questions or you want to dive deeper into some of the photos you see on our website, some of the photos in this deck, we are here to help bring your event into reality. And we have a unique method that we'd love to go into further depth with that no one else is doing, that really takes a different approach to event design and production.